Flannery O'Connor, 1925 to 1964, was an American novelist and short story writer known for her distinctive Southern Gothic style. Born in Savannah, Georgia, she grew up in a deeply religious yet culturally rich environment that greatly influenced her writing. O'Connor attended the University of Georgia and later the Iowa Writers' Workshop, where she honed her craft. Her work often features themes of morality, grace, and the complexities of human behavior depicted through grotesque characters and vivid storytelling. O'Connor's notable works include A Good Man is Hard to Find, Wise Blood, and Everything That Rises Must Converge. Despite her struggle with lupus, which ultimately took her life at a young age, O'Connor's impact on American literature remains profound, and she is celebrated for her sharp insights into the human condition. One Squinted Eye is not the title of a published story by Flannery O'Connor, but it's a phrase that perfectly fits her style: sharp, ironic, and deeply observant. It may be that you're referring to a description or image from one of her works, where O'Connor often uses physical gestures, like a squint, a stare, or a side glance, to reveal a character's moral or spiritual blindness. In O'Connor's Southern Gothic world, seen in stories like Revelation, A Good Man is Hard to Find, and Everything That Rises Must Converge, eyes and vision are powerful symbols. Eyes represent insight or the lack of it. A squinted eye often suggests someone who's half-seeing, suspicious, or spiritually myopic, trying to perceive truth but unable to bear the whole light of grace. For example, in Revelation, Mrs. Turpin's smiling and good-humored look hides a squint of judgment against others. In The Artificial Nigger, an old man and a boy confront their own blindness, literal and moral, in the blinding light of Revelation. So if you meant one squinted eye metaphorically, it could describe the O'Connor gaze itself, the way she looks at humanity, with one eye on heaven and the other squinted at human folly. Would you like me to create a summary or reflection titled One Squinted Eye, in the style of Flannery O'Connor, capturing that theme of partial vision and divine irony? Listen to One Squinted Eye by Flannery O'Connor. She had one squinted eye, not from age or affliction, but from habit. A habit born of suspicion, sharpened on years of watching other people fail to live up to their Sunday words. Miss Thelma Pritchard sat every morning on her front porch, a screen of rusty mesh between her and the world, sipping weak coffee from a chipped mug that said, "Jesus is my co-pilot." From that chair, she saw everything worth seeing, and some things that weren't. Across the red clay road, the Johnson boy was loading his truck for work, still half asleep and cursing the wayward lawnmower that wouldn't start. Miss Thelma took a long look, her good eye wide and her squinted one pinched like a question mark. "That boy," she said aloud to no one, "wasn't raised to talk that way." But Thelma's squint wasn't just about judgment. It was her armor. She believed the world had grown mean while she was busy underlining her Bible. She didn't trust the preacher's new wife with her fancy hair and her soft voice, nor the youth minister with his guitar instead of a hymnal. "That's how it starts," she said, "a strum here, a drum there, and next thing you know, folks are clapping in church." Her squinted eye saw danger and joy, pride and laughter, and sin hiding behind every hallelujah. One July afternoon, a thunderstorm came rolling in like a dark sermon. She stayed on the porch, as always, watching the lightning split the sky. A boy from down the road, the one who had stopped to help her carry groceries once, came running through the rain, waving his arms. "Miss Thelma," he shouted, "you'd better come in. That tree's about to go." Them words barely left his mouth before the oak split open, its great arm crashing down across her porch, knocking her chair sideways and sending her spectacles into the mud. When she opened her eyes again, she saw him standing over her, soaked to the bone, a hand outstretched. For a second, she looked up at him, really looked, with both eyes wide open. The squint was gone. In that clear, trembling moment, she saw not a sinner, not a boy too careless to shave, but a face bright with kindness, eyes filled with concern. It wasn't until much later, when the storm had passed and the neighbors gathered, that Miss Thelma realized something. One eye saw the world's faults, but the other saw God's mercy, and she had spent most of her life using the wrong one. That night, she sat in her kitchen with a new mug of coffee and the same old Bible. But when she read the words, they seemed less like commandments and more like invitations. And though her left eye still squinted a little out of habit, it no longer closed her off from grace. She had learned that sometimes heaven opens one eye at a time.